Good morning, Derek. I hope you're feeling better today, buddy. I hope you're feeling better, Sir D. Hope Billy D's feeling better. I haven't heard from Billy. Good morning. Good morning, Higgs. Good morning, Nerdy. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The lighting's different in here. It shows more of the age on Pops. Jeez, Pops is getting there. We'll call it wisdom this morning. How's that sound to you guys? Still got a map. Let me just show you guys real quick. This is where I'm working this morning. We're gonna set it up where I'd be able to use the TV. This is Sister's house. You guys recognize this fella? Upstairs, it's like there's 2 levels upstairs and 1 down. Just a beautiful home. She and her husband own a construction company. They actually built this house. They build houses like this and sell them. No, this isn't Puff. This is my other sister, Renee. Garage-ish. Outside is absolutely beautiful. So yeah. I already had my tea this morning. Anyways, a quick view. I love her house. I love getting to visit here. Yeah, this is my sister's house. Oh, I know, HP. Living like a king, huh? It's just beautiful here. We're very close to Annapolis, Maryland. It's not as cold here as it was back in... Let's turn the music down, Herbie. Thank you. There we go. Just a little in the background. Thank you, Derek. My sister's quite the decorator. She heads the sales department, and her husband is the president and owner of the company. And they build homes just like this. Just beautiful multi-million-dollar homes. And they're this close to retiring, the 2 of them, and figuring out what to do with the business. So, good morning to everybody. I'm just grateful to be here. What a drive coming here yesterday. It was an 8-hour drive from Detroit to, we're just above Annapolis here in Maryland. And it was a really rough ride, mostly because of the rain. It started raining just sprinkly in Detroit. And by the time I made it down here, I was like in a deluge. Okay? No, I haven't mentioned Jesus to my sister. Jesus, I haven't mentioned you yet, but she'll catch on. She's out right now getting tea and coffee and stuff. Um, and she works from home most of the time, right here in this office that I'm using. She'll work from here. But hey, it was rough yesterday, and especially because of daylight savings time. Last time I drove down here, it was the beginning of summer, so it stayed light the whole drive. Last night it got dark about, geez, almost 4:30, 5 o'clock, and I still had another 3 hours of road time. I've been on the Pennsylvania Turnpike lately, right, nerd? Maps, we're a map family. We grew up like, my parents grew us up on Jeopardy. Seriously. The whole family would sit down and watch Jeopardy together, and my mom would keep score. She'd have a little pad, a score pad, and keep track of how often you got your question right. And then we had Encyclopedia Britannica, right? It was occupied a honored shelf in our dining room area. And if we didn't go, and that was back before computers, every one of us, every homework assignments, anything like that, that you had to write an essay, you had to write anything, we would, and that Encyclopedia Britannica was used like you wouldn't believe. You kids, some of you kids don't even know what an encyclopedia looks like. You guys are Wikipedia people. Okay, Sparky, that was after I lived with her when she was in her 80s. Then Mom was pre-recording the games. Yeah. She would pre-record them. HB, you even remember a thesaurus is? Nobody even knows what a thesaurus is anymore. But Sparky just cracked me up because I remember that. My mom would record it and then, hey, do you want to watch Jeopardy with me? I was like, I didn't tell her that I already knew that she had cheated. I just gave her cheating space. I used to have to carry a volume of the encyclopedia to school. That's right. Remember that? Hey, because it's not like we could copy it. It's not like we could copy the page or take a picture with our phone, right? You'd have to carry the G volume because you're going to talk about geology in school. Okay. Yeah. The Pennsylvania Turnpike, Ohio Turnpike, is beautiful. Clean, just straight shots. There isn't a bubblegum wrapper on the side of the freeway. Last time I came down, there was a lot more construction. This time there was only one area of construction. Good morning, Laura. And, but you hit the Pennsylvania Turnpike, and it's like, you guys got to go figure out how Ohio is doing it and figure out if you guys could do it like them. And no lights on the side of there's no lighting. So you're working straight off of reflective paint strips on the ground. And when it's raining and pouring like that, it isn't reflecting nearly as well. So there was a lot of swerving going on. And you're supposed to be able to go 65 miles an hour and people are trudging along at 45 miles an hour. And Sammy P said it's expensive. Yeah, for $15.50 to get on and off the turnpike. $15.50 is the toll. I remember when tolls were like you just put change in the cup. $15.50 for the Ohio Turnpike and $15.50 for the Pennsylvania Turnpike. So make sure you have an extra $32 in your pocket, okay, or $31 in your pocket if you're if you're gonna take the turnpike, make sure, okay? Ruff's happy because Sis is home. You can hear him. You guys are great at hearing that stuff in the background here. You guys are really good. Classic, you can't get here without taking a toll road. You can't. It's not possible. It's not possible. Okay. Yep, the tolls were very high, but I'm not complaining because it was, it's a straight shot and everything's good. And it wouldn't even been that bad if it hadn't been raining as hard as it did. But yeah, it was $31 to get here, besides gas. So, but that's a lot cheaper than an airplane ride. And based off of airplanes right now, I don't really want to try to schedule something. Okay? Oh, Joe D's, it is possible to get here or into Joe's somewhere around Pittsburgh, if I remember correctly. Yeah. No, Renee, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. My tea was just delivered to me. Okay. So this is really good. Sam, no, that's not true. They're cops. You don't see more state troopers than sitting off to the side with their speed guns. And they're trying to figure out not only the 1550 to drive on our road, but if you have an out-of-state license plate, they're thinking about pulling you over and adding some more money to the state coffer. They have budgets. Huh? Yeah. Cleaning knows. The cops in Ohio are more aggressive, the state troopers. Like, they'll drive up right behind you and follow you for long enough for you to make a mistake. They'll put pressure on you from behind. Yeah. Now, that was one of the advantages of it being rainy, is I think that they were all at the donut shop yesterday. Okay? Because I did not see too many. Herbie, what are you doing in Ohio? Is there going to be some kind of a softball game or something? Look at this. What a beautiful cup. See, that's the state of Maryland right there. The Maryland blue crab. Queenie, they don't like to go out in the rain. They're like the Wicked Witch of the West. They think they're going to melt. Oh, boy. Oh, that's tasty. Renee, that's great. Thank you. Okay, you're helping a buddy move. Some motors and tools. That's a nice help. That's a nice help. Maryland blue crab is the best. I'm not a big seafood guy. You guys know that. I eat walleye and Maryland blue crab. I lived in Maryland, right in this area here, just a little bit north of where I am right now, for 5 years. When I got out of the rehab that I was in, you guys heard my rehab story last week, where Mom put me in the rehab. She got me into Marine rehab instead of the Cowboy Club. As soon as I got out, I moved back here to live with my older sister, our oldest sister in our family, who unfortunately passed away at the age, I think she was like 40, 42, something like that. Very, very young, and she died of breast cancer. And it was crazy. They figured out that they diagnosed her breast cancer on Ash Wednesday. And she was very much a very strong Catholic. And they diagnosed her breast cancer on Ash Wednesday. And if you guys know Lent, the period of Lent for Catholics, you're supposed to sacrifice something. Like if you like drinking tea, then, I'm not going to drink tea for Lent. You do some kind of a sacrifice for Lent. Sacrifice something that you like. So and so it starts on Ash Wednesday, it goes 40 days, and it ends on Good Friday, which is the Friday before Thanksgiving. My sister was diagnosed on Ash Wednesday.
Easter.
She actually died on Easter?
No, you said Thanksgiving.
Oh, excuse me, you're right. Thank you. Um, the Good Friday is 2 days before Easter, not Thanksgiving. I have Thanksgiving on my mind. I can't wait for my turkey. It's gonna be crazy here. I'll tell you guys that in a second. But anyways, my sister Blue, who you guys have heard me talk about quite a bit, she was like she was our surrogate mom. My mom worked nights, and my sister became, poor girl, she wasn't any older than the rest of us, but she became the one that had to get us fed, and she made dinner. She kept us in line. She didn't have much of a teenagehood because she ended up becoming, our mom, more or less. Um, so, anyways, she was diagnosed with her cancer on Ash Wednesday, and she passed away on Good Friday. 40 days that we knew and that we were able to, offer whatever kind of support you can to somebody that is in the last stages. When they finally figured it out, that she had cancer, she was completely metastasized throughout her whole body. And it was a no-win situation. Yeah, 40 days that's not very long to know that you have left on the planet, if you think about it. Boy, this tea is good. And, we really miss her because she was our mom. So I got out of rehab. I moved back to Maryland and moved in with her and her family, rented a room from them for a little less than a year while I worked on getting sober, getting back involved in life outside of drugs. Started a business with her husband. We got into a remodeling company. We started together, and it's where I met my ex-wife too, right here in Maryland. A few months after I moved here, I met a girl at the church, a devil. So I was like, you know what? If I marry an angel, I'll be less devilish. Well, be careful when you marry angels and you have a little devil streak in you. It's not going to be the easiest relationship. Okay? She liked a little devil in a guy, and I liked a little angel in a girl. Sparky, you're having lag? But anyways, it was a devil and an angel marriage. It lasted quite a while. But I couldn't stay as holy as I needed to stay in the relationship. She kept getting holier, and I didn't. Yeah, Herbie, that's right. She kept getting holier, and my holiness level topped out. I'm sorry about the lag, you guys. I'm sorry about that. Anyways, I'm just so grateful to be here. I'm grateful to have you guys here with us. No, I tried. I tried to be the pastor husband that she wanted me to be, but I was also shoving a square peg into a round hole. Okay? Holiness plateau. Yeah, I reached a plateau, and I was like, I think this is about as holy as I'm going to get right here. Meanwhile, she kept getting holier. She was like, and it was a creepy holy. It was very judgmental. Very, if you weren't living by the scriptures, there was something wrong with you. And it was like, wait a minute. I thought Jesus liked the bad guys. I thought Jesus like hung out with the tax collectors and the prostitutes and stuff. I thought he liked guys like me. He said, no, no. Jesus wants you to be a lot holier than you are. So it was interesting relationship. Good morning, Jesus knows. Oh gosh. Let me get started here this morning. Let's get started, kids. It's a fantastic article I'm going to read you starting tomorrow. It's a story. I'll read it tomorrow, and probably it'll take 2 days to cover. Okay. But there's a group, a popular therapy modality that's known as the internal family systems. And this article is more or less an expose therapeutic modality called internal family systems. And it's pretty crazy. And when you read what this group, how this group approaches therapy, it's going to be pretty crazy. Let's see if I, give me 1 second. The article starts out, the therapy that can break you. IFS, which is internal family systems, is a widely popular trauma treatment. Some patients say it actually destroyed their lives. Okay? It's fascinating because even in today's world, 2022, we have some really weird therapy stuff going on out there. We really do. You would think that we've gotten past it, or that some of the stuff would be uncovered. We have some sincerely weird, cultish practices that are happening. And I think it'd be interesting for us to review that, not because we want to judge ISF, IFS, internal family systems, but because we want to be aware. We want to be aware. Did I say 2022? That's what we are. No, I'm out of 2025. Thank you. I can't even remember anything over here today. Why do you think Pops isn't wearing his lab coat today? Oh, I went to put it on this morning, and there was blood on it. There was blood on it. And I was like, what the heck? And I remember cutting my hand yesterday, just a small cut, as I was loading up my car in the morning to leave. And I thought that I had gotten rid of all of the blood and everything, but sure enough, the one coat that I pick up, my lab coat, and I went to put it in the car, I didn't even realize it until this morning, I had bled onto my lab coat, the one I was going to bring down here, or brought down here. So, so no lab coat here, unless I pick one up over Amazon or something, but I think I'm just going to go with shirts while I'm down here. Give me 5 people that say, Pops, don't worry about the lab coat this week and next. Next week's going to be a short week anyways, right? Give me 5 people for the next few days. Okay? Thank you, Sparky. Okay, Nerdy, thank you. Yep, I'm going au natural. Okay? I'm having a lab coat vacation. I actually have like 4 or 5 lab coats sitting all pressed and all in my cupboard, and I grabbed one, and little did I know I had bled onto it, and it was like right here where you could see it. And I was like, gosh darn it. I guess I'm going coatless this morning. It's interesting too, because that lab coat is sort of, you guys could imagine, it sort of becomes my blinky. It was like my blinky. How many of you guys had blinkies growing up? Okay. How many of you, right, Headbuster, practicing? Yeah, Green Killer, that'd be a good idea. Wear that lab coat next Halloween and maybe carry a knife or something. But yeah, don't have expectations. Yeah, it's totally my security blanket. Blinky, blanky, you know what I'm talking about. A little blanket you had when you were a kid. And it had that soft part on it that you would rub while you were sucking your thumb. I don't think I sucked my thumb very much when I was a youngster. Real quick, let's run through a couple of things. Today's tricycle newsletter today. Um, I'm going to hit some highlights and then we're going to read an article. Okay? Rehab is for quitters. That's funny, Captain. It's actually really funny. Okay. Greenie had a choochie. That's adorable. You got a choochie. That's great. ER Karma Doc does a black lab coat. That's scary. Here we go. Some research articles in Tricycle Newsletter today. Psilocybin may improve mood, memory, and learning through epigenetic remodeling of the aging brain. Another article. A study of Nova Festival survivors association offered them some trauma protection. Ours for relief. R-ketamine may be more effective than racemic ketamine for alcohol use disorder. I'm just hitting some highlights here. A new class of analogs related to 2C-B may hold potential as novel antidepressants. And in the functional plasticity department, psychedelics produce behavioral effects even when the brain's physical structure doesn't change. Good morning to Terry. I always like when I see Terry. Here's some policy articles. Experts gathered at the Harvard Law School to discuss whether and how psychedelic therapy should be legalized federally. And at Harvard, big meeting between all the brainiacs. Next article. The nation's leading end of life rights attorney is fighting to bring psychedelics to the dying. I love that. I love that. This one's interesting. Do you guys remember the story about the pilot who was going to get a jump seat ride home or somewhere? And so there's the two seats for the pilot and the co-pilot, but then they have a little jump seat in the cockpit. And if you're a visiting pilot, you're not in this flight crew, but instead of sitting in the back with all the regular passengers, they let you sit in the jump seat in the cockpit as you're getting, your free ride home. Do you guys remember this story? This particular pilot that's in the jump seat at one point came out of a stupor that he was in, and he tried to crash land the airplane. He went over and he started pulling levers and putting the complete flight and everything into massive danger. And they had to subdue the guy and save the flight. You guys remember that fella? Off-duty Bay Area pilot, who, that's exactly, Calico Kitty, that would be the definition of a bad trip. You ready? This guy sounds like, I have two opinions on this. I'll tell you what I mean. Okay? Oh, Captain, I was a devil. Off-duty Bay Area pilot who used psychedelic mushrooms won't see additional prison time in attempted crash of the flight. Joseph Emerson of Pleasant Hill was sentenced to time served after pleading guilty or no contest to trying to cut the engines during a 2023 flight to San Francisco from Oregon. A former Alaska, you guys ready? A former Alaska Airlines pilot who tried to cut the engines of a passenger flight in 2023 while riding off duty in the cockpit will serve no additional prison time, a federal judge ruled Monday, bringing an end to a case that drew attention to the need for more mental health support for pilots. U.S. District Court Judge Amy Baggio sentenced Joseph Emerson of Pleasant Hill to time served and supervised release for 3 years at a hearing in Portland, Oregon. Federal prosecutors had asked for 1 year in prison, while his attorneys had sought probation. Excuse me. Pilots are not perfect, the judge said. They are people, and all people need help sometimes. I like this judge. Emerson was subdued by the flight crew after trying to cut the engines of a Horizon Air flight from Everett, Washington to San Francisco while he was riding in an extra seat in the cockpit. The plane was diverted to Portland, where it landed safely with more than 80 people on board. After his arrest, Emerson told police he was despondent over a friend's recent death, had taken psychedelic mushrooms about 2 days earlier, and he hadn't slept in over 40 hours. He has said he believed he was dreaming at the time, and that he was trying to wake himself up by grabbing 2 red handles that would have activated the plane's fire suppression system. Baggio said it offers a cautionary tale worth telling beyond the confines of this case. Before she announced the sentence, Judge Emerson spoke and said, the pilot Emerson spoke and said he regretted the harm he caused to society. I'm going to segue for a moment. I'm not going to blame the mushrooms on this one. I really am not. Those of us, or any of you that have had psychedelic journeys, know that it's not a 40-hour journey. It's not. It's not. You would have to be actively ingesting for a long, long period of time for it to be that you're still under the effects of the mushroom. So I'm going to assume, I'm going to violate the third agreement, and I'm going to make an assumption that there was more involved, and they was probably taking a few other things that kept him awake for those 40 hours besides having taken mushrooms 2 days earlier. So there was a lot going on with this guy. And the press jumped all over it at the time and really looked at this as, oh, bad mushroom, bad mushroom. And I think it was a mistake. Okay. But I'm not there. I don't know all of the facts of the case, but I'm making my own assumption. I have a feeling there might have been more involved with that kept him awake, and it wasn't the mushrooms. So it's certainly an easy place to place blame, unfortunately. But let's get back to the article real quick. 1 second. So that's just my opinion, and it's not worth very much because it's just an opinion, and it doesn't have a whole lot of facts behind it. But I had been tracking this case. I've been paying attention. Now here's the good news. This guy made a pretty big turnaround in his life. He really did. He took ownership, other than blaming the mushrooms. He took ownership of what he had done, and I feel like it turned out to be quite a benefit. Let's go on. Because I like the way this extremely tragic event. I mean, can you imagine you're a pilot and you're waking up and you're trying to down the whole plane? He had to feel pretty bad about himself at that point, right? So he's despondent. He tries to pull the levers. Baggio said, no. He hugged his attorneys and he shared a tearful embrace. Wait. I like this. Here we go. He's addressing the court. I'm not a victim. I am here as a direct result of my actions, he told the court. I can tell you that this very tragic event has forced me to grow as an individual. I'm getting goosebumps. I'm proud of him for growing. I'm proud of him for taking direct responsibility. And he didn't, wait for it, he didn't just put words in his mouth. There's some actions going on here. Listen. He hugged his attorney and he shared a tearful embrace with his wife after the judge announced his sentence. Multiple people spoke on Emerson's behalf at the hearing, including his wife Sarah, who told the judge how the incident had impacted their family. I am so sorry for those that it's impacted as much as it has. But I am extremely proud to be here with this man today, because the growth that he has had from this terrible experience has not only helped him, but benefited those that surround him, she said through tears. I just hope people realize that it's not necessarily the mistake itself, but how you respond to it. He has responded with courage and a demonstration of extreme resiliency. Okay? Let's go on. Emerson had pleaded guilty to all charges against him in September as part of an agreement with state and federal prosecutors. Emerson was charged in federal court with interfering with the flight crew. A state indictment in Oregon separately charged him with 83 counts of endangering another person and one count of endangering an aircraft. 83 counts because there were 80 passengers and 3 crew members. He got 83 charges. Okay? He was released from custody pending trial in December 2020. 2023. Go mental health services, stay off of drugs and alcohol, and keep away from the aircraft. Interesting how they throw alcohol in there, but they didn't talk about it when it first happened. I would venture to say the alcohol may have had more to do with this than 2 days earlier taking some shrooms. A state court sentenced him to 50 days in jail with credit time served, plus 5 years of probation. Now wait for this one. 664 hours of community service. That's a lot. For any of you that have done community service, I had 20 hours on my little deal. 664 hours? Woo! Pharmacy runner, who knows? Terry, you still have 32 left? I get it. 664 hours of community service. They calculated that as 8 hours for each person he endangered. So every single person he endangered, 8 hours of community service. And he was charged with $60,000 in restitution to the Alaska Air Group. Half of his community service can be performed at the pilot. Listen to this now, okay? This man went on to having had the most difficult, probably, chapter in his life. And the public exposure, we're sitting here talking about him today. And we all know his name. We all know stuff about him. He started a Pilot Health nonprofit service after all of this. Half of his community service can be performed at the Pilot Health nonprofit he founded after his arrest. He must also undergo assessments for drug and alcohol and mental health treatment. Refrain from using any unprescribed drugs, and this is the funny one, and keep at least 25 feet away from any operable aircraft unless he has permission from his probation officer. You're not allowed, sir, you're not allowed to go around an airplane anymore. Okay? No, sir, there's a 25-foot circle around any airplane. No, sir, no, you can't go there. In the sentencing memo, asking for 1 year in prison, federal prosecutors wrote, it was only through the heroic actions of the flight crew who were able to physically restrain the defendant and restore normal operations of the aircraft that no lives were lost that day. In a sentencing memo, his attorneys requested probation with credit for time served over prison or home detention, arguing that the robust state prosecution had already resulted in substantial punishment. In state court in September, Emerson said he was grateful to the flight crew for restraining him and saving his life, along with those of everyone else on board. He called it the greatest gift I ever got. And even though he lost his career and he wound up in jail because it forced him to confront his mental health images and his mental health challenges and his reliance on alcohol. This difficult journey has made me a better father, a better husband, a better member of my community, he said. The airline has said that other members of the flight crew had not observed signs of impairment that would have barred Emerson from the cockpit. The averted disaster renewed attention on cockpit safety and the mental fitness of those allowed in them. So it heightened the awareness of the stress that pilots go under. Absolutely. What I'm hearing in this story was tragedy turned to triumph. And it came because of the guy. He owned it. He took personal responsibility for it. He started a group, a mental health group for other pilots. And at the end of the day, even if the mushrooms didn't cause it, and maybe they did, we're certainly seeing where just the growth that this gentleman exhibited from having made the biggest mistake of his life to, and he'll never fly a plane. He's not even allowed near them. But I'll tell you what, I'm actually proud of the guy. I was a little pissed off at him for blaming mushrooms, but that's because of my bias. Because they keep throwing that in, but it's not nearly as sexy for the news. So, pretty interesting story. We have a couple more that we're going to share this week, but actually I hadn't even planned on reading that article today, but I saw that a few of you said you hadn't heard the story before. So I remember when this happened. Pretty crazy. Yeah, Kimberly, he was forced into some self-evaluation. And I feel like, based off of what we've heard, and for a judge to say, I'm just going to give you probation, that judge saw some growth and some change in this man. So good for him. We can turn our tragedies into triumph, team. Just because we've made the biggest mistake of our life doesn't mean we can't flip it around and turn it into something that's going to be helpful to other people besides ourselves. And that's what we see exhibited here. That's the moral of the story for Pops. Okay? Pretty fascinating. Brene Brown this morning. We're going to cover a little bit. I don't know if we're going to finish this topic today, if we have to carry over to tomorrow. Wait for tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to read a really fun article to you guys. Okay? That's right, Bubblegum. You're right about that. I think probably they're a little more, even the other pilots are a little more aware of who they're allowing in the cockpit. You know, check the guy out pretty thoroughly before you give him a seat. Do any of you suffer from perfectionism? I have a friend, lady friend. She wants to start a business making candles, scented candles. And she sent me a couple of her scented candles that she had made at home. She has a little whole room set up for manufacturing scented candles, right? And they're beautiful. Her candles are beautiful. They smell amazing. When I got a couple of her candles, and I was like, you've got to, if you're planning on doing your business, you've got to do this. This is great. You have an amazing product here. That was 4 years ago. I stay in constant touch with her. A beautiful lady lives down in Florida. And I stay in touch with her. And I'm like, so how's the business going? Have you gotten started on the business? Well, no. And every time she comes up with another reason why she isn't perfectly ready to start the business. I go, you've got everything you need. I've seen your setup. I've seen your workshop. I've seen your product. You're good to go. Well, I'm still working on my business prospectus. And, I'm modifying it, and and it's just not perfect yet. And it isn't money. It isn't because she doesn't have the money to get it started. She could do that. She has a perfectionist streak. She's told me. She goes, it's not perfect yet. I can't launch until it's perfect. She's completely tied her own hands. Her own ability to express her creativity and make the money that she can make and bring beautiful candles to people's homes. Because it's not perfect yet. Will it ever be? Give me 5 people. Is anything ever perfect? Almost never. Almost ever, never. And when we have perfectionist streaks, sometimes we think that that's a positive, but it might not be. Right? And I counsel her on this. I go, come on. We got to get you going. How can I've tried to sell some candles for her. Well, I'm not ready. I don't have the right packaging. My boxes don't look as good as yours do, Pops. I need to work on my packaging, and then I could... She always has a perfect reason that accounts to she's not ready because it's not perfect. I know more people like that. She's an extreme, but we suffer from perfectionism, if some of us. And it's debilitating. Where you think perfectionism is a positive, and in some cases it is, but I would argue that in most cases, if you're suffering from perfectionism, it's not going to be a positive, right? Shame is the birthplace of perfectionism, according to Brené Brown. Shame. Self-confidence, says Niffy. Shame is the birthplace of perfectionism. I love that line. You're like ashamed of yourself. You're ashamed of you. It's just not good enough yet. Striving to be our best or working towards excellence. Healthy striving is internally driven. Perfectionism is externally driven. I'm going to say that again. Perfectionism is, healthy striving is internally driven. Pardon me. Perfectionism is externally driven by a simple but potentially all-consuming question: what will people think? And I line this up with her, my friend, and that's her concern. What will they think if the package isn't perfect? If I put the bow on it perfectly? Ruffy, what are you doing? What are you doing? What? What are you doing over there? He's rolling around on the couch, you guys. You can hear him in the background. What are you doing? Calm down. Pops is doing a show today. Okay? Oh, gosh. I love how you guys like Ruffy as our mascot. Okay? It may seem counterintuitive, but one of the biggest barriers to working towards mastery is perfectionism. One of the biggest barriers towards mastery is perfectionism. In our leadership research, we've learned that achieving mastery requires curiosity and viewing mistakes and failures as opportunities to learn. Perfectionism kills curiosity by telling us that we have to know everything, or we risk looking less than. Perfectionism tells us that our mistakes and failures are personal defects. So we either avoid trying new things or we barely recover every time we inevitably fall short. Papers by Paul Hewitt and colleagues, Simon Sherry, provide evidence that people with high level of perfectionistic traits are at meeting their own expectations and the expectations that they assume are being held by others. What's going on with HB? Yeah, I'm sorry about that too, HB. But I love how HB handled it. Do you guys hear what he did? He lost his pup, his little guy, life of companion. And if correct me if I'm wrong, HB, but I think what he did was he went out and he bought handfuls of roses. And he handed out roses to strangers, 1 rose per person. Sir, the way he grieved was by giving. He said it made him feel better. He didn't spend the time that he was out giving away these roses. He didn't spend the time that while he's out giving away roses, he's not thinking about his grief. Is that beautiful? Did I tell the story correctly, HB? I was like so proud of him when I thought, I got goosebumps right now. What a great way to respond to grief. When I heard that, I said, that's beautiful. I don't know that I've been that thoughtful or creative during my grief. Yeah, he could have gone out and begged people for their sympathy. Oh, please feel sorry for me. And we would. We all know what it feels like to lose a pet or a loved one. And he could have easily fallen into that trap. But instead, he went out to the planet Earth and he planted goodness. I think his dog would be really, really proud of him. I do. I think his dog would say, good job, HB. Good job, HB. Understanding the difference between healthy striving and perfectionism is critical. It's critical to laying down the shield and picking up your life. This is speaking to my friend. She has a shield. She needs to lay down her shield and pick up her life. Don't hide behind your shield of perfectionism. I'm so glad you guys are appreciating what HB did. Good job. You guys keep telling him positive feedback when you've done something positive. Research shows that perfectionism actually hampers success. In fact, it often sets you on the path to depression, anxiety, addiction, and life paralysis. My friend has life paralysis. She's paralyzed. She can't make the next move because she's stuck in perfectionism. Life paralysis refers to all of the opportunities we miss because we're afraid to put anything out in the world that could be imperfect. I've seen people not do their YouTube channels. Well, I'll do it when I'm really good at it. You won't get good at it until you do it. Look at one of our shows from 4 years ago. It's a crack up. You get better and better and better. If you wait till you're perfect, you won't start. please start. Whatever it is, whatever your creative project is, whatever. There he is. What are you doing back there? Why do you keep rolling on this couch? And then funny thing about this little guy is he knows cameras. As soon as the camera's on him, he freezes. Sorry about that side thing. I keep hearing he's rolling on the couch back here behind me. Yeah, Scootsies. He's a little crazy. He's waiting for his ride, like you guys said. He's waiting for his ride. Yeah, Smarky, I'm not doing anything. What? You didn't catch me rolling. It's also all of the dreams that we don't follow because of our deep fear of failing, of making mistakes, and disappointing others. It's terrifying to risk when you're a perfectionist because your self-worth is on the line. As previously mentioned, perfectionism is self-destructive, and it's an addictive belief system that we use to try to protect our feelings of shame, judgment, and blame. It is a 20-ton shield that we lug around thinking it will protect us, when in fact it's the one thing to fight. Let me explain why I describe perfectionism as both self-destructive and addictive. 2 more paragraphs here. This is an important topic. It comes to my mind, there's a lot of us out there that are ready to launch things, but we're not quite ready. I want you to know that Terence McKenna says, jump, take the leap. That terrifying leap. And if you take it with the right concepts and attitudes, you land on a feather bed. What's over the edge isn't a roaring river that's going to sweep you away and that's it for you. What you're going to land on is a feather bed. We did that here with tea. We did that with our Grow Lab. We just took leaps. And today, I've never landed on anything sharp. I mean, in my past I had, but I might not have been jumping for the right reason. If you're jumping for the right reason, you will land on a feather bed. Perfectionism is addictive because when we invariably do experience shame, judgment, and blame, we often believe it's because we're not perfect enough. So rather than questioning the faulty logic of perfectionism, we become even more entrenched in our quest to live, look, and do everything just right. Now you're stuck. Feeling shamed, judged, and blamed, and the fear of these feelings are realities of the human experience. We're all going to feel shamed at some point. We're all going to feel judged at some point. We're all going to be blamed for something at some point, whether we did it or not. And we can all feel fear of these feelings. But perfectionism makes us live in them. Perfectionism anchors you to those feelings. If we cut the cord, then those feelings of shame and judgment and blame are just natural emotions that we work through. Me personally, I use the 4 agreements to work through it. I don't take things personal, even about myself, because I have that brain blames me for everything. holds me extremely accountable to a degree that I could never live up to. So what do? I just stay in my morass. If I can cut those cords, I can feel the shame, the blame. For the moments that I need to, I would argue that our pilot friend that we read about earlier felt a lot of shame. He felt a lot of judgment. But I don't think he made sure that his pilot mental health program was perfect before he launched it and started helping other pilots and himself. He worked through the blame. He worked through the shame. He worked through the judgment, and he turned it into a positive instead of staying stuck in it. That's the message for today. Perfectionism actually increases the odds that we'll experience painful emotions, and it often leads to self-blame. It's my fault. I'm feeling this way because I'm not good enough. It's my fault. I'm not good enough. Replace any of those thoughts with, I'm a human being. I'm going to make mistakes. It's how I handle them. It's how I rebound from them. If I'm going to start a little business, I'm going to start an enterprise, I'm going to start a group, I'm going to start my own chat page. It's not going to be perfect on day one. And that's going to be okay. It's actually kind of fun to see the growth. It's kind of fun to look back at your situation. Remember when I started this, whatever it is, 4 years ago? Remember how we were kind of honky-tonk? Look at us now. And we're not perfect yet. We never will be. It's the path that matters. It's what we're doing today that matters, not our perfectionism. Closing with that quote. Perfectionism is a self-destructive and addictive belief system that fuels this primary thought. If I look perfect, and I live perfectly, and I work perfectly, and then I can avoid or minimize painful feelings of shame, judgment, and blame. No, you can't. You're human. You're going to always experience those. You're just going to experience them a lot less and less and less as you grow and your self-image gets better. Don't strive for perfectionism, you guys. It's destructive. Strive for launching yourself into new situations, new community involvements, new experiences with people you don't know, new ways of showing the goodness and kindness that you're growing inside you. It doesn't take perfectionism to be generous, to be thoughtful, to be kind. It doesn't take perfectionism. It takes courage. It takes courage to jump. And my personal experience is I've always landed on a feather bed. I've never yet, in any of these experiences, especially in the last 5 years, have I ever landed on something that poked me and wounded me. I fly through the air as I'm coming down from my jump, and I know I'm going to land on a feather bed. And I can't wait because I get to get up off the feather bed, and I get to go back up to the top, and I get to jump again. And you guys have seen it here. Growth. Growth. We took it from 3 tubs to 150 tubs. We took it from 7 followers to 27,000 followers. But you can't get anywhere without taking the first leap. So give me 5 people that can identify an area in their life right now. I just need 5 of you that can identify. Beautiful morning, 54 people, 54 likes. You guys are killing it. It must be the shirt. Give me 5 people. Take a second. Can you identify an area in your life that you've been holding back on the jump because you're not quite ready? It's not quite perfect yet. Give me 5 people. There's an area I really want to do. I want to expand. I want to process. I'm not quite ready. Look at you guys. I'm sure getting a lot more than 5 people answering that. Don't hold back. It's time to jump. This is the perfect time to just do it. Experience the wonders of it. Watch your self-image grow. Don't wait till it's perfect timing. I'll argue that it never will be. Look at you guys. Phenomenal comments here. The best part is when you can raise your hand and say, you know, that's an area I identify a need for growth. We can all probably do that. Thank you, 4-Leaf. So, I like what Joe D said. Never a better time to start than right now. Okay? Sanum, that's adorable. Your ergonomist got to be absolutely right. You know what? The 4th agreement says, let's end here. It doesn't say wait till you're perfect. It says do your best. And your best will be different every day. Your best gets better when you're practicing. Just do it. And when you're doing it, do it with 4 things in mind. Being impeccable with your word and your action. What you're doing is an impeccable thing. You're not out there creating harm or strife or discord in your community. Your impeccability is your intention, is goodness and kindness. Don't take it personal if you don't succeed, quote unquote, the second you jump. And don't take it personal if people don't appreciate what you're doing. It's not about them, it's about you. Don't make an assumption that it's not going to be good enough. Don't have an expectation for something over the moon. Don't assume or expect anything and just watch what the harvest is. And 4th, and this is the covering one, do your best. If you're doing your best, everything else lines up. And this isn't a message that you didn't know already. Okay? So those are our 4 agreements. And if we're practicing the 4 agreements, we're not practicing perfectionism. We're practicing jumping impeccably, not taking anything personal, not making assumptions about what the end product is going to be, or having expectations. Doesn't mean you don't have a target. Doesn't mean you don't have a goal. But those are targets and goals. They're not expectations. Weighty assumptions. And then it ends with do your best. Give me 5 people that are glad we discussed perfectionism this morning. Give me 5 people, and we're going to head out. Joe Dees is right. Most millionaires didn't become millionaires from their first time. There's so many stories about people that failed and they tried again and failed. Colonel Sanders, 3 or 4 bankruptcies, and he didn't hit on his big move until he was in his 60s. He's in his 60s when he finally became Colonel Sanders. Try. And there is no such thing as failure. It's called feedback. We don't use the word failure. Neuro-linguistics programming teaches, don't use the word failure. It's feedback. Every time something doesn't match up to your expectations, number 3, you're getting feedback. You're going to be able to do it better next time. I love you guys. Thank you. I'm having a great time here. I'm just can't wait to spend time with the fam. And then next week's going to be great. We're going to get around and visit people. Go see some of my old haunts around here. See some of the buildings that I helped build back when I was here. It's just going to be wonderful. I'm so grateful for my sister and my amazing brother-in-law, Bruce, for giving me a beautiful home to stay in and putting up with rough rolling on the couch. So, have a great day, everybody. You guys go out there, be kind and generous and good, and jump. Don't wait. If there's something you can be jumping towards, start it today. Okay, let me scroll you guys out of here. Derek Anderson, Nippy and Anthony Hunt and HB. And there's Marky Z. And I lost my iPod. Good morning. Captain Obvious, loving her. Kay Hendricks. Sanum, good morning. Niffy, thank you, my dear. Sammy P. Jesus Christ in Australia. Deborah, what a pearl. I love seeing Deborah here. Herbie Von Werby Kabot. My moderators, our moderators, did a great job today. Great job. They didn't blast anybody. They didn't blow anybody off the planet. They were kind and soft. Zozo LSD and Niffy. I don't want to be one either. Derek Anderson, Herbie and Aaron. Michael Patterson, thank you, Shanti. Kimberly, perfectionism is always a problem worth working on. Joe Dees and Nippy and HB and Aaron and Jack Lanterns. Captain Obvious, thank you for your feedback. Herbie, make sure you say that with the right attitude, though. That could sometimes be taken as real, almost like contempt. So, but I know what you're saying. Herbie and City Bear. There you go. I lost my iPod. Aaron. And Captain Obvious, HB Nippy. Kimberly. Aaron. Calico Meow Kitty Cat Meowzilla. Captain Obvious. Laura, have a divine day. Laura, if you want, send me your address. Anthony Hunt. B. Hendricks. Jesus Christ. Joe Dees. Sammy P. 4-Leaf. Mark Z. Derek. Kim. HB Niff. Cleany. Loving my Cleanster. Captain Obvious, HB. Herbie Von Werby, Broken Furby Kabop. Jesus Christ and Kim. We're going to give him a ride. As soon as we're done here, he's got to go. Exception Shroomy. Jesus Christ Calico. There's Pidgey Page. Joe. Herbie and Aaron. Michael Patterson. Notorious Skate. And, Michael's on the road. Anthony, Cranky. Good morning, Cranky. Terry Newman, I'm so glad. Terry, it's going to be next April or March or April. And we're going to finalize the date in January here. We're all going to come up with an idea of what the final date is in January. Then we can kind of set our schedules around that for next year. Don Zammer and Derek Anderson. Sarah Bear, I need a hug. Anthony, Jesus, Laura Devine, thank you, dear. Mr. Phillips, thank you. Sarah Bear, Derek, HB, Michael, Joe, Sarah Bear, Jesus, Secret Mail, and there's my bubble gum. Pops. I agree with you, Terry. I'm down and I can't wait myself. Pops, peace, love, thank you. And I want to thank my sister and brother-in-law for giving us the space to do this while I'm on the road. All right? I'll see you guys here, same much time, same much channel, tomorrow. And you'll see what shirt I'm wearing tomorrow. Instead of a bloody lab coat. All right? Love you guys. See you tomorrow. Pops out.